Did your battery light just pop on? And you're like, what the F? What's going on? I just replaced this battery. Did a bunch of electrical stuff, and then turns out to be the alternator. First, you're going to want to check the fuses and see if this alternator fuse is bad or this alternator fuse is bad. If you haven't had any issues with your battery. Also, there's fuses in there to check if your alternator fuses is bad underneath the dash. Check those first. If it isn't the case, it's possibly and most likely your alternator, depending on the mileage in your car. This 1999 Toyota 4Runner 3rd Gen Limited had 240 or has 240 plus K 1,000 miles on it. So the OEM one that was on there had 240K on there. So you can see some crud on that thing. It's possibly from my valve cover gaskets leaking, and it could have been a dirty. This could be cleaned and reused, but I suspect that the bearings are shot. As you can see, it keeps spinning. It should not be spinning after you go and spin it. It should have some resistance and stop itself, the bearing inside. So this one looks to be shot. It was also making a noise, a squealing little noise, annoying noise when it was cold, especially. And just recently, it was starting to do it even when it wasn't cold and when it would warm up. So it's possibly your alternator. I got the O'Reilly one. Here's the part number, the 80 amp. Okay, and I also put the link in the description for that O'Reilly alternator. I got it because I don't have enough money at the moment for the OEM one, which if you guys do, just go ahead and just go get this OEM, because I always recommend OEM. But this has a lifetime warranty. If you guys decide to go this route, it's half the price of that at least, and they could have it in, or O'Reilly had this part in for me when I showed up. So it's very convenient. It worked. As you can see, the light inside automatically came off after I got the job done. I'll show you real quick with the tools I needed. Very simple. You're going to need a 14mm socket. Get you some variations of that as well. Have all your tools out. 12mm socket. The 12mm ratcheting wrench. Very handy. 90-degree pick if you need some flathead screwdrivers. Just get you have tools on deck. But that's all you're going to need right there, is what I just told you pretty much. But beware of the replacement, and double check to see if this gap between the plug and this little metal piece right here, you hear that? See that gap right there? That gap on my replacement part was too small to allow the plug to plug back in, and I already had it installed. The belts were already tightened up, and we didn't want to pull it back off to mess with this thing. So this 90-degree pick helped me to get in there and bend this flimsy little piece so I can get the plug back in. So just double check to see if it's going to work, so you can plug your plug back in the back and not have a problem like I did. So very simple. Disconnect your negative battery terminal, get that out the way before you do any electrical job. Come down here. I'm just going to turn the car off so I can show you with my hands. That's what I mean. This is DROKU. Hit that like button, like and subscribe. It's off. Looking Gucci. Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. So you're going to want to get us some light. Gonna need that light, most definitely. But I'm gonna show you guys right here. There it is. Disconnect the battery terminal. Like I said, take this cover off for this this connection, this electrical connection. Pop this cover up and off. Save that. There's a 10mm right there. You're gonna disconnect the 10mm bolt, set it aside just in case your new one doesn't have it. Don't lose it. The plug I was talking about, connector, is right in the back. It's a squeeze tab. Possibly need to squeeze it. Use a screwdriver to put pressure on. There's a little flange coming off it, so you could help pull it out. I squeezed it with my right hand. Use my left hand and the screwdriver to push that electrical tab out. Then crack these bolts. Crack the 14mm on the top. There's a 12mm underneath here to get onto your the tensioner on the bottom. Crack those two real quick. Then you come over here to the right hand side, and there's 12mm bolt over here on the tensioner down there. You just loosen that until your belt comes off. Once your belt comes off, which will be pretty loose on that, you're going to be going for a while, take your belt off, set it over here to the side, and then loosen up your 14, but start with the 12 at the bottom. Loosen up the 12 all the way, get it out of there, make sure you don't lose your tensioner, and then get your 14mm off. Mine was pretty loose. I didn't have to pry it out with a pry bar or nothing, because my car is pretty clean. As you could tell, I do my own work and I make sure shit's clean and not rusted and grimy. So we do our own shit. Get that 14mm bolt all the way loose. Take that thing out and it should move. You tilt it this way, drop it down, and wiggle it out. That's how I came in. I can't repeat the steps. Get your new one. Come in. Shimmy it back up. There's a bushing inside here that wasn't giving me any problems. Some people have had problems with this bushing inside there. They've had to move it to get their new alternator back into this slot. I didn't have that issue. I put my alternator back in, put the 14mm in there, twisted up a couple threads so I could get down to the bottom tensioner. Got the bottom tensioner put back in, same way it was. You brought it back out. I had to loosen up this tension side of it enough to put on to this slot, the tensioner slot, and then you're going to want to get your belt put back on, tighten up the tension where it was at, and the tension you're going to want to be about a half turn. When you have, it's pretty hard to get it a half turn, like not really hard, but it doesn't really want to turn. It starts to get really hard when you get about halfway. That's about as much tension as I have on it, and should be your correct tension. Also, do this job at your own risk. Safety glasses. This channel is not responsible for any mistakes or any injuries, any type of thing that may happen to you. So do this job at your own risk. Pretty simple. After I get the belt, you're going to want to have these bolts a little snug, but not tight at all before you start tightening your belt. And then you get your belt tightened, and then you snug these back up, this 14mm and the 12mm at the bottom. I snugged up the 12mm at the bottom a little. Just, there's no really torque, just snug, and don't over tighten them, because you will strip out your bolts possibly, but get them a little snug before you come and start tightening this belt, because it could pop off on you. You know what I mean? And then repeat the steps by inserting the plug back into this connector. Put this electrical connector with the 10mm back on. Tighten your 10mm down, just snug, no torque, not too much, not too tight, just nice and snug. Put your connector cover back on. Mine had a little snap in it, so I put a zip tie on to hold it, and you're done. You can connect your negative terminal back to your battery, and just double check to make sure everything's good and clean inside there. Stay clean. Use the air compressor with the blower nozzle if you have to blow out any crud. And yeah, also like and subscribe to this video, because this is DROKU, and we got plenty of other maintenance do-it-yourself videos for the car owner of this 3.4 liter 5EZ EV6. And we love you. Thank you guys for hitting that bell. Peace.